I mentioned all that. Mike Gallagher is here with us. Now, the question about hitting Iran directly. If you do that, you risk you take the chance of igniting Hezbollah in Lebanon and creating that wider war. How do you see it today based on what we think we know, sir?
Well, you have to find a way to restore deterrence. The administration is claiming that these long overdue strikes will do just that, but at the same time, simultaneously admitting that the Houthis are likely to retaliate, which by definitions means that deterrence is not restored. So I hope this marks the beginning of a shift in the administration's posture towards Iran and its proxies. We will have to get more aggressive, but I'm not holding my breath. I fear we're going to just engage in this incremental tit for tat in an effort to avoid further escalation. And such an approach, I think, signals to our enemies that the Biden administration is still reluctant to provoke Iran, despite the fact that Iranian-backed terrorists have already attacked U.S. forces 130 times since October. And of course, just consider the fact that the administration has not put the Houthis back on the terrorist list yet, nor did they even mention the Islamic Republic of Iran in their statement. Which leads us to a final and important point. As the Biden administration looks to spike the football on these strikes, we should remember that this is a problem of their own creation. Biden removed the Houthis from the list in 2021. They forced our Saudi partners into a truce with Iran and the Houthis by withdrawing intelligence and military support for Saudi efforts in Yemen. And all the while, they've relaxed sanctions on Iran. So until we reimpose that policy of maximum pressure on Iran, I don't think we're going to have a chance of restoring deterrence.
What would you say to those members of Congress that have said that this is against the Constitution and they're calling for the Biden administration to back off?
Well, I think it's consistent with the War Powers Resolution, under which the president has the authority to conduct military action abroad in two situations. One, when Congress declares war, which the Democrats are referring to in this case. But the second case, which they're failing to remember, is in the case of a national emergency created by attacks upon the United States, its territories or possessions, or its armed forces. And in this case, the War Powers Resolution requires merely that the president notify Congress within 48 hours of committing armed forces to military action. So I disagree. I think the president in this case has the authority, given that our armed forces have come under consistent attack. I'm glad he's used that authority. But we should debate this in Congress. We should debate the best approach going forward so we can actually restore deterrence.
So the Houthis were considered a terrorist group when the Trump administration was in the White House. And that all changed when President Biden took control. And they were taken off the list in February of 2021. That was one of his first acts as president. I'm not suggesting they're going to reverse decision now, but they must regret it, don't you think?
They have to regret it, and I do hope they reverse it. But more broadly, the thing to reverse is the complete relaxation of economic pressure with respect to Iran, because, of course, Iran is using the money that it's getting because it has less pressure on sanctions and funneling it into the Houthis, into Hamas and Hezbollah. And if the goal was stability in the Middle East, obviously we have not achieved that. If the goal was to reduce energy prices or overall the inflationary effect of the Biden administration's bad domestic policy, well, now we're seeing shipping costs go dramatically up as commercial vessels try to elide the Red Sea, up something like 55% on cargo going to the East Coast and upwards of 70% on cargo going to the West Coast, which, of course, has an inflationary effect. So all of this chaos tends to spiral and build upon itself. And the Biden administration, really, whether it's going back to Afghanistan or some of the mistakes leading up to Ukraine, has thus far proven unwilling to admit mistakes and change course or change the team surrounding the president so he could have a better set of expertise in order to make better decisions.
Mike Gallagher, congressman from Wisconsin.
Yeah, thank you,
I bet
much.
it's cold up there.